Now we can go on with the sacrifice.
Amoka stepped off the bus and glared against the morning sun. The dusty road stretched through Umogu village, her childhood village, a place she hadn't set foot in for nearly 10 years. The familiar scent of red earth and burning firewood mingled with the faint sweetness of ripe mangoes. Everything looked smaller than she remembered: her father's compound, the market square, even the tall iroko tree at the center of the village, its massive branches stretching like protective arms. She had returned not just to care for her sick mother, but to escape the city's relentless noise and deadlines. Here, among the familiar faces and traditions, she thought she might find peace, yet the villagers' whispers began even before she reached her family home, Amoka. "You're back," an elderly woman called, balancing a basket of yams on her head. Her eyes darted to the tree, and her voice dropped. "Don't be careful, children have been disappearing near the iroko tree." Amoka froze. "Disappearing? What do you mean?" The woman's lips pressed together. She shook her head, muttered about angered spirits and deaths owed long ago. Amoka frowned. In the city, she had studied logic and reason, not superstition. And yet, something in the woman's tone made her uneasy. Her mother's compound smelled of pepper soup and wood smoke. Her mother, thin and frail, embraced her tightly. "Amoka, it's been too long." "But have you heard about the children?" Her voice quivered. Amoka felt a chill. "Tell me everything," she said. By mid-afternoon, Amoka had walked to the market square, her curiosity now tinged with worry. The iroko tree dominated the space, smoke curling like fingers around the branches. She approached the children playing nearby, small boys kicking a tattered football, girls skipping rope. They laughed freely, unaware of the shadows lurking around the square. Amoka smiled, hoping for normalcy. Then she noticed a small group of parents huddled near the tree, whispering anxiously. One woman was crying quietly, her hands clutching a basket. "It's my daughter. She vanished this morning." Amoka stepped closer. "Where did you last see her?" The woman hesitated, then gestured toward the tree. We were playing near it. I turned away for just a moment. When I looked back, she was gone. No footprints, no sound. Nothing." Amoka's stomach tightened. She walked around the base of the tree, scanning the red earth. The soil had been disturbed, but the marks didn't look like footprints from a child, or any adult for that matter. They were deep, wide, uneven, as if something, or someone, heavy had walked there. She frowned and traced the marks with her fingers. They ended abruptly, disappearing beneath the roots. Something about the pattern made her uneasy. That evening, Amoka went to visit Obi, the village elder and storyteller. Obi's compound sat on the edge of the village, next to the forest that stretched endlessly beyond Obinkita. Obi was seated on a carved wooden stool, a walking stick in hand. His face was lined with age, his eyes sharp despite his slow movements. "Oh, Amoka," he said, his voice deep and steady. "Back from the city, and the village cries again." He gestured for her to sit. "The children, yes. Children who carry debts of the past." Amoka blinked. "Debts?" Obi nodded solemnly. "Long ago, a family made a pact with the spirits that dwell in this tree. In exchange for wealth and protection, the spirits demand something in return. Sometimes it is food from the earth, sometimes a sacrifice. Sometimes a child." Amoka laughed nervously. "Surely that's just a story." Obi's eyes narrowed. "You may laugh now, but the tree is old and patient. It does not forget. You will see." He handed her a worn leather-bound book. The pages were yellowed with age, filled with symbols, drawings of trees, and stories of children who had vanished decades ago. Outside her window, carrying sounds she couldn't place. Around midnight, Amoka flipped through the pages, a cold dread settling in her chest. That night, Amoka couldn't sleep. The wind whispered through the trees outside her window, carrying sounds. Around midnight, she thought she heard faint giggling and footsteps in the distance. Near the market square, grabbing a flashlight, she ventured outside. The village was quiet, the usual sounds of crickets and frogs amplified in the darkness. She walked toward the iroko tree. Her pulse quickened. "Who's there?" she called softly. No answer. Only the swaying of branches, a rustle in the shadows caught her attention. She swung the flashlight toward it, revealing nothing. Something moved beneath the roots. Amoka froze, her breath catching. A small hand emerged, pale and dirt-streaked, clutching a piece of cloth. She knelt down, pulling the child out carefully. It was Oma, the neighbor's daughter. She was trembling, silent. Amoka lifted her into her arms. "It's okay. I've got you." Oma's eyes darted toward the tree. "It's once more," she whispered, barely audible. Amoka's heart sank. The next morning, Amoka returned to Obi. "Obi, the child." She said the tree once more. "What does that mean?" Obi sighed. "It means the debt has not been settled. Those who wronged the village, or themselves, left something behind. The spirits demand balance." The sun had barely risen when Amoka returned to the market square. Ama, the neighbor's daughter, had spent the night at her mother's home, but Amoka couldn't shake the image of the child's pale, terrified face, nor the words whispered in the dark, "It's once more." Something about the iroko tree had shifted overnight. The carvings on its trunk, the strange symbols, some resembling animals. She traced a finger over one, feeling the groove left by a knife or strong fingernails. Whoever, or whatever, was behind the disappearances left messages, warnings. She crouched down, scanning the soil. Last night's footprints had disappeared, washed away by an early rain. Yet something else caught her eye, a faint, almost invisible path leading toward the forest. It wasn't wide enough for a vehicle, just enough for a child. She had to follow it. Amoka moved cautiously, stepping over fallen branches and vines. Birds scattered overhead, startled by her intrusion. She clutched her flashlight in one hand, a small knife in the other, not for defense, but to cut away vines if needed. After 10 minutes of careful walking, the path ended at a shallow hollow, partially hidden by dense undergrowth. Someone had been here. She shone the flashlight inside. The beam caught something small, a shoe, covered in dirt. A child's shoe. Amoka swallowed hard. This was no longer a story she could dismiss. The disappearances weren't random. Someone was hiding children here, returning to the village. Amoka saw Chinedu, her childhood friend, and now a local police officer. She found him polishing his motorcycle near the station. "Chinedu, I need your help," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Children are disappearing, and I think someone in the village is hiding them near the iroko tree." He frowned. "Amoka, are you serious? Or is this some superstition?" "I wish it were superstition," she said. "I followed a path last night. I found a hollow in the forest, a child's shoe. Someone's taking them. I don't know why." That night, armed with flashlights and determination, Amoka and Chinedu returned to the hollow. The forest seemed alive with sound, the rustling of leaves, distant owls, and the faint snap of a branch. Amoka's heart raced. She stopped abruptly. Footprints had reappeared, freshly pressed into the mud, large, uneven, just like the ones from the first disappearance. She gestured to Chinedu. "Look. They are recent." They followed the prints carefully, moving closer to the hidden hollow. Then they heard its soft, muffled whimpers. "Children," Amoka whispered. They crept closer and discovered a small pit. Amoka moved quickly, lifting the children out. "It's okay, you're safe now," she said. Her voice firm. The boy trembled. "The tree. It's angry. It's once more." The elder listened quietly, nodding as she recounted the evening's events. "The tree does not take children without reason," Obi said. "The debt it demands is ancient. Long ago, someone in this village made a pact for protection, wealth, or power. The carvings, the hollow, the fresh footprints, pointed to a human hand. In the following days, Amoka became vigilant. She watched the village, noting suspicious movements. A family known for wealth and secrecy drew her attention. Shutters closed during the day, fires burning late into the night, and the occasional odd smell drifting from their compound. She began to piece together whispers from parents and neighbors. Decades ago, this family had been involved in a violent feud with another village. There had been blood spilled, promises made, and debts left unpaid. Could they be hiding children as part of the old pact? Her fear grew when one morning she found a child's toy, carved with the same symbols as the iroko tree, left on her doorstep. A warning, or a threat. One night, Amoka lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The words of Oma and the other boy echoed in her mind. The tree once more. The footprints, the hollow, the carved symbol. Amoka crouched behind a hedge, peering through the dim light. She noticed symbols carved into the compound's gate, similar to those on the iroko tree. Her pulse quickened. Whoever lived here was connected to the tree's debts. Chinedu gestured toward a small side entrance. "We'll go quietly. No one knows we're here yet." They slipped through the narrow gate. The yard was strangely quiet. In the corner, a stack of mats and blankets suggested someone had been hiding children recently. A faint smell of smoke and incense lingered in the air. Amoka swallowed hard. This was it, the evidence she needed. They moved closer to the main house when a sound froze them in place, a low, whispering chant. Peering through a window, they saw the family, father, mother, and eldest son, kneeling before a small shrine inside. Candles flickered, and the symbols matched those on the tree. Oma and the boy they had rescued sat quietly near the shrine, eyes wide with fear. Amoka's stomach twisted. They are keeping children as part of some ritual, she whispered. Chinedu clenched his fist. We need to stop this. Now. Before they could act, a branch snapped underfoot. The family looked up. The father's eyes widened, they narrowed. Who's there? He demanded. Amoka stepped forward, voice firm. I know what you've been doing. The children are being taken, hidden here, under the pretense of the tree's death. It ends now. The father laughed, in a low, bitter sound. You think you understand? As the confrontation escalated, a sudden wind swept through the compound. Candles flickered violently, shadows danced along the walls. The children screamed. Amoka felt a cold pressure in her chest, and then she saw it, the iroko tree. Or rather, its spirit. A figure, massive and dark, its form twisting like bark and branches, appeared in the courtyard. Its eyes glowed faintly, an otherworldly light that pierced the darkness. The family fell to their knees. It has come for the dead. Amoka stepped forward. Show me what must be done. The wind stilled. The figure of the iroko seemed to lean closer, its presence pressing against her mind like a living memory. Symbols on the walls glowed faintly, almost readable now. Amoka knew that within them lay the key to breaking the cycle. The family could only watch, powerless, as she approached the ritual symbols, ready to confront the secrets buried for decades. Amoka stood in the dim glow of the ritual chamber. The air was thick with incense and smoke, tangling with the earthy scent of the forest that crept through the compound. The iroko spirit loomed before her, vast and twisting, its bark-like form shimmering as if alive, eyes glowing faintly green. The family knelt behind her, trembling, powerless. The father's face was pale, etched with fear. You can't stop what has been promised, he whispered, voice shaking. Amoka took a deep breath, forcing her fear down. The words of Obi echoed. The key wasn't confrontation or force, it was knowledge, respect, and willingness to face the truth. She stepped closer to the carvings on the wall, squinting at the faint symbols illuminated by candlelight. Some depicted children, some depicted the village, and some strange abstract patterns that seemed to pause as she stared. The spirit seemed to lean toward her, acknowledging her words. The eldest son, shaking, raised his voice. You don't know what you're doing. My family has protected the village. You can't undo this. Amoka turned, her voice steady but firm. You've been hiding children. That is not protection, it's fear. And fear is not law. Amoka approached the center of the chamber, tracing the final symbol with her hand. The tree spirit seemed to respond, the glowing eye softening. It rose higher, towering above them, then slowly began to dissipate into shadows and smoke, leaving a faint glow where the hollow in the forest had been. Obi's words returned to her mind. Balance must be restored, but the willing must guide it. By acknowledging the family's wrongdoing, honoring the tree's original purpose, and acting courageous, Amoka had fulfilled the conditions to restore balance. The room felt lighter. The oppressive energy lifted. The children laughed quietly, sensing the end of their nightmare. By morning, the village had begun to stir with news of what had happened. Parents rushed to reclaim their children, hugging them tightly. Word spread quickly, tempered by awe and fear of the iroko tree. Amoka returned to Obi, who smiled faintly. You have done what many could not. The tree is appeased.